Welcome. Welcome to All Souls Church Unitarian Universalists in Greenfield. I am Reverend Doug McCusker, and I am delighted to be here as your guest worship leader this morning. It is wonderful to have all of you here with us today, whether in person or online. No matter what you believe, who you love, where your ancestors came from, how many or few times you have been here, or what you're going through this morning, you are welcome. We are blessed to be here together in person and online. Every Sunday, we form an instant community by showing up and being present for each other. In that spirit, I invite you to reach out and greet those who are near you. And for those who are online, you are invited to use the chat to say hello to your fellow Zoomers. I want to acknowledge our Zoom attendees. How many do we have?
There are three this one.
Okay, 3. And what are their names?
We have Don Baker, Gary, and Trudy Rapp.
All right. Welcome. You will find listed in your order of worship several important announcements about upcoming activities at All Souls. So please check for the details. If this is your first visit here, or if you haven't come in a long time, we invite you to introduce yourself if you are comfortable doing so. We would love the opportunity to warmly welcome you. Do we have any new visitors or someone coming for a long time? Yes, someone in? Okay, cool. Later in the service, we will set aside time for expressing our joys and sorrows. However, candles located in the side windows may be lit at any time during the service to silently express any joys and sorrows that you hold in your heart. If you feel so moved, you may go over any time in the service, light a candle for joy or sorrow. But bear in mind, we will have a time to actually express it with a microphone. And now, I invite everyone to come into this room in body and spirit. Be present. Be focused. Be at peace as we make room for the words of Matt Ausbaugh. Breathe with me. Breathe with me the breath of life. Inhale. Inspire. Inspiration. Ruach, Pneuma, Spiritus, the many names for breath. Breathe with me. Know that with each breath, we take in molecules of air that were breathed by every person that has ever lived. Breathe with me and breathe the breath of Jesus, of Moses, of Muhammad, of Lao Tzu, of the Buddha. Breathe with me and know that we are all interdependent, that the spirit of life flows through all of us. Breathe with me as we come together to do the holy work of interconnection and relationship, that our work here may be blessed. Amen. Let us take this time now for quiet reflection as we listen to the prelude by our pianist Laura Joseph Lem. This morning, we join Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world in lighting a chalice, the symbol of our faith tradition. If you are online and have a chalice or a candle, please join along as we light our chalices together. I invite Maria to come forward and light our chalice here in this building. As we enter this space, mind, body, and spirit, know that we are home together on this whirling planet that birthed us out of her stardust. As we light this chalice and beckon the spirit of life, let us make room in our hearts for the loving grace that connects us all as kindred souls. As the flame burns brightly with our collective energy, may we join the dance in rhythm to the web of life of which we are all a part. Please rise in body or spirit as you are able to sing our opening hymn number 1051 in the teal hymnal, What's that? Oh, okay.
We need to give some direction.
All right. Would you like to do that? This is the song is called We Are by Isaiah Barnwell. And as we're getting ready to hear, the choir will be leading us.
Okay, friends. This is a page turner hymn, so I just want to walk you through your page turns. So first of all, the first entire 2 lines, we repeat them, and then we move on. And when you get to page 3 in the middle, you have to go back to the bottom of page 1 and sing all the way through to the end. And at the very end, we sing the last refrain 4 times. That's why you need instructions, because the choir got lost this morning learning it. So first line, first 2 lines, you sing them through twice. Then you go all the way through to the middle of page 3. You turn back to the bottom of page 1, sing all the way through, and at the very end, we sing the last 2 lines 4 times.
Look, use my name.
This will be fun.
Or just him, or hum. Just hum.
Wonderful, wonderful. Please join me in reading in unison our All Souls Covenant, which you will find in your order of worship. In this house, we covenant with one another to build our connections on a foundation of love, hope, and faith, to accept responsibility for our individual acts and work together to promote equality, justice, and peace, to stand on the side of love, embracing the liberation of the oppressed and championing all movements to end discrimination, to communicate with kindness and support, and to serve with compassion and commitment, to listen respectfully with an open mind and value our diversity as a source of our communal strength, to learn together and grow together, generously sharing our time, talents, and treasures, to celebrate the joys of discovery, embracing the fullest measure of our humanity, from the wonder of youth to the wisdom of age, to openly share our laughter and our tears, showing reverence for the divine and all that is.
Welcome. This is the Flower Communion. We're doing it a little differently this year, so stay tuned here. This year, Unitarian Universalists around the world will be celebrating the 103rd anniversary of the Flower Communion, which was originated in 1923 by Dr. Norbert Čapek, founder of the modern Unitarian movement in the Czech Republic. For some time, he had felt the need for some symbolic ritual that would bind people more closely together. So he turned to the native beauty of their countryside for elements of a communion that would be genuine to them. So on the last Sunday before the summer recess of the Unitarian Church in Prague, all the children and adults participated in this colorful ritual, which gave concrete expression to the nature-affirming principles of our liberal faith. The Flower Communion was brought to the United States in 1940 and introduced to the members of the Unitarian Church in Cambridge, Massachusetts, by Dr. Čapek's wife, Maja. Unfortunately, Maja was unable to return to Prague due to the outbreak of World War II. And it wasn't until the war was over that Norbert Čapek's death in a Nazi concentration camp was revealed. This gentleman suffered a cruel death, but his message of human hope and decency lives on through his Flower Communion. It is a noble and meaningful ritual we are about to recreate.
On this table, we are blessed by the beautiful colors and scents of flowers. They remind us of the innate beauty inside all of us that we offer to one another whenever we are together. Let us bask in the serenity of these flowers and in the love that permeates this community. Let us renew our sacred relationship with the natural world as we reclaim the wild essence of our true self. May we enter into communion with all beings, and may these flowers fill our hearts with color, light, and love.
So, our ritual today, I invite those present here in the sanctuary to file out of your seats in the front rows first, working our way back. Please approach the table with an appreciation for the beauty and serenity of the flowers. They've been picked from our gardens or reverently selected to bring joy to one another. Please accept a flower from the person in front of you, and then select a flower from the vase. It doesn't have to be the one that you brought. Give it to the person behind you. give it to the person behind you in line, and with gentleness, grace, and love. Then proceed down the sides and take your seats. As you sit down, take notice of the flower that has been given to you. Its shape, its color, its texture. It is a gift from the bounty of our community and is a testament of the wide diversity of people here today. Let us share now in this Unitarian Universalist ritual of oneness and beauty.
please take a moment to look at your flower and know that this came from this community, and this is your gift that symbolizes the connectedness that we all have merely by being here on this planet. Every week in our church, we take up an offering which gives us an opportunity to exercise the generosity of spirit that supports All Souls in our ministries. If you are visiting today, you are our guest. Feel free to let the plate pass. We see this act of giving, of growing more generous in our hearts and in our actions, as essential to our spiritual well-being. We will now receive this morning's offering. Individually and together, we are building a world filled with peace and justice, love and joy. Each one of you, by your commitment of time, talent, and treasure, helps make that grand vision real. Thank you. Thank you for your generosity. Our reading comes from a novel called Holy Universe by David Christopher. From its emergence to its extinction, each species has its bright moment in the web of life, harnessing the infinite drive toward life, learning to thrive in the best of times so that it might endure the times of hardship. So too, our oldest ancestors, deep within the web of life, did not merely survive, they thrived beyond imagining. For how else could humanity slowly entwine itself within the web of life in nearly every place on earth? The web of life is not a force challenging us to battle, but a sacred and powerful partner calling us to join in the dance. When my daughter Bree was a little child, she and I were creeping along on a major thoroughfare in slow traffic. Her attention was transfixed on the activity outside of the car's window. A massive development of suburban homes was slated to be built there, and we could see these huge bulldozers clearing the land. They were knocking down old trees, churning up the land and revealing the red clay. And suddenly, I heard her sniffling, and then I realized that she was crying. I asked her, "What's the matter, honey? Why are you crying?" She turned to me with tears streaming down her face, and she asked, "What will happen to the animals?" Her question took me aback, and my first response was to console her. But just as I was about to say, "Oh, they'll be all right," and then make up some lie about how the people had carefully removed them, I went silent, and her sadness overtook me. I had gone there every day on my commute to and from work, and it had never occurred to me to be concerned about the loss of habitat for all the wild animals who lived in that stretch of the woods. I had grown so accustomed to houses and roads that I had lost my connection to the critters in our backyard. But my daughter, she was still connected. In the bedtime stories that we read to her at night, the animals were characters with names and families and homes, just like us. They had feelings, and they had lives of their own. It took a child, with all her innocence, to show me what I had become blind to. The ancient consciousness of our pre-agrarian ancestors is still with us, but it has been stuffed deep within us. They intuitively perceived a spirit flowing through everything, including themselves. Even before they developed a language and gave this force a name, they must have sensed its presence. Imagine feeling a connection to all of creation without needing words. Just bowing to the mystery of the universe with awe and respect. Believing in a creator who is connected to the created. Just creation all around in a unity of infinite oneness. And then even after the advent of language, this spiritual unity infused itself into the stories and the way of life with a deep understanding of the relationships among nature. Now, I'm sure there were a lot of trial and error in this relationship and a heavy dose of humility. Think about the poor souls who ate poisonous plants and got bitten by deadly insects so that their kin could learn what to avoid. This ancient consciousness sees the universe as alive. The galaxies, planets, mountains and streams, forests and oceans are all part of a living, interconnected organism. As are the animals, plants, fungi, and microbial life that feed and are fed by this complex creation. Life and death as an intricate exchange of energy flowing through everything. But as humanity learned to harness this abundance and cultivate the land, something profound shifted. A new consciousness. Let's call it a modern consciousness. Humanity began to mimic the complexity of the planet by organizing itself into larger and more specialized structures. The spirit world morphed into gods and goddesses, each with different powers living in separate realms, disconnected to their own creations. The hierarchy that this modern consciousness created in our civilizations mirrored a stratified view of the universe. Gods sitting at the top, then humans, then animals, insects, and then the earth itself at the bottom. This modern consciousness no longer saw the universe or the planet as alive and unified. To understand our world, we learned to deconstruct it into finer and finer levels of abstraction. Everything was viewed as separate, in competition, and there for the taking. We built ever more complex tools using logic and requiring energy that we extracted from this seemingly lifeless ground. We moved the course of rivers, lopped the tops off of mountains, denuded the forests, all to feed this insatiable hunger for dominance. Along the way, humanity has uncovered amazing discoveries into how things work. And we have used this knowledge to our benefit to live longer, safer, and more securely. We have created an order that fits our perception of the world. The mysterious connective tissue of life has faded into the background, and consequentially, we have become lost. This phenomenon has been referred to as species loneliness. David Christopher writes that the overarching story of this modern consciousness is that humanity is the grandest creature in the universe, and the earth was solely created for its sake. Humanity is separate from the web of life, is the ruler of the web of life, and can take whatever it wishes from the web of life without consequences. But of course, we know that's not true. This attitude towards nature comes at a great cost. Wildly excessive amounts of carbon in the atmosphere from the burning of fossil fuels has drastically affected the delicate balance of our climate and the sustainability of life. Mass killings of fish and mammals have disrupted the food chain that we depend on. Huge disparities of wealth, and it's even getting worse, lead to wars, hunger, and mass migration of populations. Over-reliance on technology drives us further away from the natural intelligence embedded in the diversity and the harmony and the flow of life. Our delusions would be classified as madness if it wasn't so widely accepted as reality. With every silver bullet that we create to clean up the mess, we end up with a new problem that requires yet another silver bullet. We've learned, slowly, that there are limits to everything. The universe doesn't care if a species blows itself up out of foolishness. A new order, a new complexity will always emerge. There have been 5 mass extinctions on this planet, so what's one more? But thankfully, mercifully, many people are beginning to wake up and realize that we cannot stay on this path indefinitely. Instead of ignoring or fighting with nature, the time has come to reunite with the spirit of life that never went away. It has always been here and has always been inside us, even when we forgot to sense it. I'll tell you a story. Several years ago, I was in Orlando with my family visiting the Universal Studios theme park. It was like walking into a mashup of movies and television shows. To get from the main gate to the amusement rides, we entered a series of recreations designed to pull us away from our ordinary world. We crossed over a bridge, and we saw King Kong's Skull Mountain. Up ahead was a steampunk candy factory. All the while, we could hear sounds and music that were vaguely familiar, yet utterly different. And then the first ride that we came upon was a huge roller coaster spiraling up above our heads. It was the Hulk. It looked like some mysterious gamma ray weapon in which the passengers were shot into a series of curlicues and loop-de-loops above our heads. Everyone was screaming and holding on for dear life. I was in a crowd looking up at this spectacle when out of the corner of my eye, I saw a duck with 3 baby ducklings, followed a few paces back by another adult duck, crossing right into the thick of the crowd. Immediately, everyone forgot about the make-believe, and we instantly melted into a bunch of gawking spectators. People stepped aside, and they let the family of ducks pass. We all took out our cell phones, and we started snapping photos, like it was the greatest thing we'd ever seen. Something ancient, something simple and beautiful stirred in each of us. Everyone was smiling like little children. In that moment, we were all connected, not just to the ducks, but to each other. We were standing on the crossroads of the ancient and the modern. The way ahead for us does not require us to totally abandon our modern consciousness. That's just not going to happen. Instead, a middle way seems to be emerging out of the crisis that we find ourselves in. A new perspective in which the wordless intuition of connection and awe meets the logic and creativity of the modern world. Intuition meets logic. A planetary mindset in which we understand that our collective fates are tied together. This is what it means to respect the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. To revere it as a sacred expression of the spirit of life. To realize that we are the baby ducks crossing the street, as well as the smiling humans watching them cross. We are both the painter and the canvas being painted upon. And so, we are called to a deeper communion with the earth, to know and love our place within this web of life, to be a sanctuary for the planet so the planet can be a sanctuary for us. 38 years ago, I wasn't sufficiently awakened to realize that when my daughter asked me, what will happen to the animals? She was really asking, what will happen to all of us? A new planetary consciousness requires humanity to wake up from this delusion of the separate self. Not only are we humans intricately connected and interdependent on all other life forms on our planet, but we are highly interdependent on our fellow humans. The Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh calls this interbeing. He uses the example of a cloud and a piece of paper to illustrate this concept. Thich Nhat Hanh says that there is a cloud floating in a sheet of paper. Because without the clouds, there would be no rain. Without rain, the trees would not grow. And without trees, one could not make the sheet of paper. The cloud and the paper inter-are. If the cloud is not here, the paper's not here. In the same way, we inter-are with the mountains. Because without the minerals that are exposed through the lifting and eroding of mountains, we could not exist. If the mountains are not here, we would not be here. We and everything else on this planet inter-are. There is no independent self. Awareness that I am made of non-I elements leads to the understanding of non-self. It is the realization of non-self, as the Buddha says, that brings an end to suffering. Unfortunately, at this present moment, our country is still scared or too ignorant to take the bold step forward that is needed. We have leaders who are stuck in a mindset of dominion, domination, and the illusion of separation while the rest of the world begins to awaken. And their fear has real consequences, not just for the animals in the wild, but for all us animals. But rather than panic or despair, we are called to heed the words of nature poet Wendell Berry. When despair grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in the beauty of the water and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting for their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. We are called to find that place of interbeing with wild things, a place of compassion in which we are compelled to protect life in the same manner that we would protect ourselves, our children, and our loved ones. We must act in the political sphere and in places where we have a direct impact, such as our communities, our congregations, our homes, and of course, in our own hearts. This new planetary consciousness calls us all to safeguard our planet as we would our own health, for they are one and the same. One of the ways that I choose to act is by being a guide, a mindful outdoor guide. My role is to lead a practice called Shinrin-yoku, also known as forest bathing. The object of forest bathing is to open our senses to everything around us in the forest. There is so much stimulation there, but the point is not to acquire and to hold onto it, but to let it pass through you. It's a very embodied practice in which you slow down and you get in sync with the more than human natural world. If you think about it, humans have lived almost their entire duration. I've seen things like 85% of our life as a species in the forest and in the savannas of the world. That is our natural home. When I'm in the forest, I feel a visceral connection to my true nature. The bliss that I experience in the forest is like homecoming, an innate sense of belonging. It is my hope that when we reunite with the more than human natural world and shed our species' loneliness, we will seek to protect that which we love just as if it were part of our family. as in all things, it's not the results that ultimately matter, but the actions that we take. Transformation only comes through immersion. Change only happens by letting go of the self and embracing the planetary consciousness deep inside us. The same force that makes us one. Que así sea. May it be so. So now please rise and body or spirit, as you are able, to sing hymn number 1064, 1064, in the Teal hymnal, Blue Boat Home. In the spirit of our interconnections, let us now take time to briefly share a deep joy or sorrow that